Welcome back, everyone. It is I, the Oscar-nominated a-hole, the a-hole who is sometimes sort of a troll. And you know what? It looks like it's the beginning of the end. It really does in regards to the MCU, and it's a sad, slow, steady decline into madness, into ravening madness, because we all know that Disney only thinks with their wallets, only thinks with the money and the cha-ching symbols. And when that happens, it is, of course, imperative to follow up with that. And who cares what the fans say? Who cares what the general audience reaction is? It's what matters is the money. Captain Marvel is the perfect instance for this, and of course, talking about Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel has made a lot of money at the box office, about to hit $1 billion. Looks like it'll definitely hit that. And, of course, Disney and the MCU will look at it and go, look, it made $1 billion. We got to move on forward with this property, perhaps even so much so that it affects Endgame, which I just think is a stupid idea, but, Marvel's not exactly the brightest company. Bright in the sense that, yes, they did create great superhero films, but not so bright because they're not covering up really well what they're doing with this Captain Marvel film. It's kind of obvious. It's like, come on, guys, we see what you're doing. Come on. Manipulating Rotten Tomatoes, the possibility of buying up tickets at movie theaters. I mean, trying to get people to donate money to sell tickets for underprivileged children. Not children, girls, let's be specific, because we don't want boys at our movie theater, right, Brie Larson? Anyways. So, the reason why, because if they would actually, look at the reviews for Captain Marvel, yes, it's made a lot of money, but if you watch the general reaction is, it was okay. It wasn't that great. And if you asked any of those people, hey, what do you would you like Captain Marvel to lead the charge and defeat Thanos, or do you want, Iron Man or Captain America or Thor to do it? I can guarantee that probably at least 90% of those reviewers would go one of those three, if not all of them. Hell, I mean, I would prefer Groot. I'd rather have baby Groot, lead the charge before I'd ever consider Captain Marvel to lead the charge. Nonetheless, Disney thinks with their wallets. They think with numbers. They don't think with, logical brains. So, because if Disney did, then of course they'd obviously be able to see that Star Wars is in a terrible place. Star Wars lost money on Solo. It lost money. And even then, what did they do? They doubled down. They lost money, and they were still like, well, it was just the timing of the release. It wasn't that big of a film. Like, people weren't that excited for it. It wasn't like an episode. It doesn't matter. It was still a film, and you lost like $80 to $100 million. Hello? Why aren't you thinking with numbers now? Because the reason of it is, I think that even if Captain Marvel lost money, Disney wouldn't have cared. This is their agenda. I've seen these people in real life. They do not care if they are losing the argument. They do not care if they are made fools of in front of public. All they care about is pushing that agenda. They will do it even if you are stabbing them in the head with logic, facts, and reasoning. And they will continue to spout their agenda no matter what. And they will not stop, and we have to stop them. And the only way to stop them is by making everyone else look at them and go, okay, dude, you need to shut up. No, for real, you need to shut up. You need to be quiet. And make it to the point that literally they have no money at all left, to the point that even if they wanted to make something, they wouldn't have the money to do it. And that's the only real way you're going to affect them in any way, shape, or form. And I think this is a transitional period. I think this is the beginning of the end of the MCU. Do I want it to be? Of course not. I'd love for Captain Marvel to have been Miss Marvel, cast with a better woman like Chloe Grace Moretz, Emily Blunt, Eva Green, Even Lena Headey, who played Cersei Lannister, would have been fantastic, or Natalie Dormer, who played in Game of Thrones as well. I think that any of them would have been fantastic Miss Marvels. And if she had had flaws and character quality traits and a pretty darn good movie, I would actually be pretty excited for the next phase of the MCU. Not like ecstatically excited, but I would be like, oh, pretty interested. Can't wait to see what they got going on next with the Skrulls and everything. But because of Brie Larson and her attitude and the way she acts and her SJW political agenda that she tries to force down our throats, no, I am not excited for Marvel at all in the future. I think right now, if they don't get their act together and they don't wake up to reality, and I know a lot of people might say, well, the reality of it is that Captain Marvel made a lot of money, well, then fine, continue to think that way. And you know what? If down the road, Captain Marvel 2 comes out, Captain Marvel 3 comes out, and they both make $1 billion, you know what? Then I guess I'm just not cultured enough. But then again, if they weren't pushing a political narrative, then I wouldn't be as upset. So anyways, like, why can't we just have good films? Why can't we have good films without politics? Why can't we have books, movies, video games, anything without politics? And it is a very common tendency trait for human beings. I wrote a book, one of the first books I ever wrote was extremely political, and I had to tell myself, no, this is not what people want to read. People do not want to read a political piece in a fiction story. So I totally scrapped the whole entire book because I wanted to make it just a fun read. A fun and interesting read based on human experiences and human emotions. And that's what I think that a lot of people need to worry about and focus on with movies and video games and novels and comic books. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what this whole fandom menace movement is trying to do. Just give us good quality content. You don't have to push a political narrative or a social narrative. Push meaningful, emotional stories that grip us because we're like, I can relate to that. I can sympathize with loss, pain, grief, suffering, agonizing, tormentous treatment. Nonetheless, this is the end, I think. The beginning, the slowly decline. And because, of course, Captain Marvel made a lot of money and made billions of dollars, or about to be $1 billion, I could definitely see them trying to fit her into Endgame as the lead, or one of the big major reasons why Thanos would die. And that's just, I think, personally, is a terrible way to go about it. But of course, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what they bring us. We'll just have to see what they do with it. So anyways, tell me what you guys and gals think down in the comment section below about the possibility of her, based on the box office numbers, if she will have a significant role or not in Avengers Endgame, and if you think she does or does not, how do you think it will affect the future of the MCU? I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.